In this demo, I will be showing you how to use the Migrate action with its latest features. Let's start at looking at the existing PARMGEN configuration I want to migrate. In my RTE2 wconfig member, I have configured a couple of products, for example DB2. The DB2 subsystem I configured is called OCA1 and is using the profile ID test. In this monitoring profile, I have enabled a few features. Let's look at the embeds that I configured. We look at the wconfig from the utility menu and find the embed that I have configured. So in this embed, it's an OMP ops member. I customized the value of kick score and I set it to yes, away from the default that was no. Another customization I did was in the security exits for the classic interface. So I choose option 9 in the utility menu and I locate the KO2 respective KO2 member. In this member I enabled the RACF exit and I subsequently specified the passwords for my classic command security. So now the next step will be to use this configuration and migrate it into a configuration manager set of configuration datasets. So let's have a quick look at the configuration manager job that I'm using to run the migrate action. Besides the usual step-lib and APF authorization, I specify action migrate in the action verb, and in this case I'm using the multi or multiple option for migrate. We will see what the result of this will be. Since I am migrating from an existing PARMGEN RTE, I have to reference that RTE in the RTE name, RTE2 in this case, and the KFJ migrate wconfig, which points to my PARMGEN wconfig library. In my case, I am using what is called an in-place migrate, where the same high-level qualifier will be used for the RTE-def, embeds, and security exit datasets produced by the migrate action. Please be aware that if you're using embed overrides, to make sure that KFG use embeds is set to yes. In my case, I also specify explicitly the KFJ sysname parameter in my KCI vars DD to RSB2, because this will drive the proper extension of my imported members in the RTE-def. So let's submit the job and look at the output. As usual, you would check the KCI print DD and you will see that it lists that an in-place migrate is running. So let's wait for the job to finish. The KCI print statement is updated, indicating that a report with migrated and default parameters was written to DD statement migrate DD. So let's have a look at this DD statement a bit more closely. The migrate DD statement contains 3 sections. The first section shows the parameters that will be migrated to the RTE-def library. These typically include parameters that differentiate themselves from the product provided defaults. For example, KDS KMS SDA, in my case, has a default value of yes in config manager, but the value that was used in PARMGEN was no. The second section of the migrate report will show the parameters that are always populated in the RTE-def dataset. These include load libraries, but also other parameters like temps type, security user logons, and high-level qualifiers. The third and last section contains all those parameters that will not be migrated and displays the default values. So let's have a look at the datasets the Migrate action produces. Remember, this is an in-place migrate, so you will find these members as part of the existing high-level qualifier. Let's start with RTE def. So as you can see, the Migrate action produced these members. Some of them we've seen in the job invocation already. So let's look at those members one by one. Let's start with the global. The global imports the global target high-level qualifier. It imported the Java directory as expected. These settings for TK and jar part and SCSF mod 0 were not set, so they are imported accordingly. You also see that for DB2 the respective load libraries have been imported. There is also a job card line that is different from the default, which we have set here. So let's look at the kicks parameters, KC5 $RSB2. I have made one customization in kicks where I am setting the CC01 classic XMID to 6, which allows me to point to a specific kicks region from my monitoring interface. Furthermore, the KC5 agent TCP KDEB interface list has been imported because it differentiates from the product provided default, which is an exclamation mark asterisk. Continuing with KDS, we see that the RTE had a hub temps type, and please note that we also see the import of the KDS KMS SDA set to no as seen in the Migrate report. Continuing on the KD5 $RSB2, we see the imported subsystem OCA1 as mentioned earlier with the respective profile test. You can also see if you scroll down for the profile that we have the test profile imported, and you see those changes in the profile row, first profile row, that are different from the product provided defaults. So we set an accounting class for our near-term history, we changed the collection intervals, we made sure that history is started, we changed the size of the vsum space, and we obviously referenced the profile ID for the test profile. So now let's come to the RTE2 member. It has the usual parameters in it. I want to point out the RTEX security exit lib, which, as you might know, in PARMGEN points to ArcandSAMU. In this case, we need to override this parameter to use secexits, which is the new library which encapsulates the security exits in Configuration Manager. The embeds library is referenced properly since we have specified KFJ use embeds as yes. Since this is an in-place migrate, you might leave all those parameters intact. You don't need to change any of those. You will also see which products have been configured in this RTE, and in my case it was the TEMS, the TOM, DB2 and KICS. So let's look at the other two datasets that have been created by the Migrate action. Let's start with the secexits dataset. So if you look at the secexits dataset and you remember that we changed the KO2S update E, you will see that it has migrated the security exit properly. So we changed the module for RAC exit and we changed the passwords accordingly. Last but not least, let's look at the embeds dataset. And we can see that the POP1 member that we have customized is showing also the change that we've done in PARMGEN. So with this we have completed the migrate action for the PARMGEN configuration that we wanted to import. And as you can see, the RTE-def now contains members that end with RSB2 for the respective LPAR, which is a new feature driven by the multi-action or multiple action. So if you have more RTEs in your sysplex, you can use the same migrate job by just specifying different wconfig members, RTE members, for example RTE3 or 4, and by driving this through the KFJ sysname RSB2, RSB3, RSB4, you will be able to consolidate your configuration into a single RTE-def dataset, remembering that the RTE-def dataset scope is the sysplex. This concludes the short video and demo on how to use the IBM Z Monitoring Configuration Manager Migrate action. Thanks for listening, and talk to you soon.